Hi, I'm Alex Harrison, the editor of Metal Bulletin. I'm sitting here with Fleur Ritzema, who covers cobalt for us here at Metal Bulletin. Fleur, I wonder if you could tell us what OMG is and what exactly it's done.
Well, OMG are a specialty chemical company based in the US. They have just divested their cobalt assets in both Finland and the DRC. The DRC refinery was sold for up to $435 million US, and the DRC assets were also divested to its joint partners.
Okay, and why did OMG sell these assets?
Well, OMG has a strategy of moving away from its exposure to commodities. It has already divested its assets in nickel, that was in 2007, and this is its final step to move away from that exposure, and now it has no exposure at all to the cobalt price itself.
And that's something that it's been trying to move away from for some time, isn't it?
Yes, and now it's depending, or its future is really in the kind of downstream aspects of the chemical business. Okay. So it's looking at aerospace, it's looking at electronics as opposed to the commodity itself.
Okay, and who exactly has bought these assets?
The assets in Finland have been bought by Freeport-McMoRan, London and Gécamines. It's a joint venture partnership. This is the same joint venture partnership that owns the Tenke mine in the DRC. Okay,
and I mean, so it's big news for the cobalt market. Did it come as a big surprise to people in the market?
It is big news, but a lot of people in the cobalt market already knew it was on the cards, because in October last year, Metal Bulletin actually released a report saying that the negotiations were in progress. We did actually name Freeport, so that aspect of it wasn't so much of a shock at the time.
Okay, and so the cobalt market's had some time to assess this information. What does it mean for the market?
Well, it's actually huge news for the market. What it effectively means is that there is now a company that has a fully integrated operation from mine to battery, and that is new. So it's a big sort of game changer, really.
And are there companies or parts of them, or are the companies in particular countries or particular parts of the market that are going to be affected by it particularly?
Yes. From the reactions of the cobalt market so far, I think many expect refineries in China particularly to be seriously impacted. That is based on the fact that Tenke traditionally supplies a lot of its hydroxide to the Chinese refiners. The problem being possibly in the future that hydroxide will no longer make its way to China. Okay. That might make its way to the new refinery there. Well, Tenke's new refinery in Finland to be processed by Freeport.
So it could be processed. It will be processed possibly at Coca-Cola in Finland.
There's a possibility, okay. Yes.
And so you talked about the Chinese refineries. There are big players in the cobalt market as well as Freeport. What opportunities and challenges does this deal create for them?
It creates a lot of opportunities for other mining companies. For example, ENRC or Glencore might have the opportunity to fill in the gaps where Tenke is no longer able to supply its previous customers. For example, those Chinese refiners may now look to Glencore, they may look to ENRC to get more intermediate supplies. The other alternative is that they could go to miners such as Norilsk Nickel. The situation with Norilsk is that they have traditionally supplied OMG's refinery with feed. If that were to continue, there is a possibility it would continue, then there may not be a big change for Norilsk, but there is a possibility that Norilsk would then have to find a new home for that feed. That it may process it itself at its own refinery, which it's currently building, but it could equally send that to China if the Chinese were looking for extra feed. So there's a possibility there of some sort of change in trade flows.
Okay, so we're looking at Freeport, ENRC, Glencore, Umicore, Norilsk. These are massive names in the cobalt market. So will this deal affect supply and demand in the cobalt market? And if it doesn't, why is it significant?
It will not have an immediate impact on the actual supply and demand of cobalt in the market, but it will have a big impact on who controls the units of cobalt in that market.
Thanks very much, Fleur.